Hello traders, welcome to the week outlook and setups volume 276. You know what we're going to be doing, having a look at the markets, how they developed this week, what kind of setups we had, and most importantly, what we can expect for the upcoming week. So a lot of volatility ahead of us, so without further ado, let's get into it. Before we get started, make sure to join my free school community. It's an absolutely incredible, positive community with a lot of value from everybody. And the classroom here is a full course that I've never shared anywhere. So make sure to join. It's the first link in the description. All right, so before we jump into the technicals, let's check out the economic calendar. On Monday, we don't have anything to be worried about. Japanese bank holiday. Tuesday, consumer confidence. This one is pretty important nowadays, especially when it comes to inflation. So that could definitely bring in some volume into the market. Wednesday, also nothing that much for the Aussie traders. We're having CPI here for the Aussie. Then Thursday, we're having GDP and unemployment claims and a couple of USD news here. That's pretty nice. Thursday could potentially be a nice day. And then, of course, Friday, we have the PCE price index. That is definitely going to be heavy on Friday. Chicago PMI here, and then CPI also for the euro. So looking at the economic calendar, there is nothing that much to be worried about. I think pretty much Thursday and Friday, similar to, for example, this week, I think last week, and even the previous week, we had the biggest days on Thursday and Friday. Like the beginning of the week starts a little bit choppy, like it makes the overall weekly pullback. And then we have these 2 days to pretty much expand a lot. I believe this week could also be the case because the biggest news here are literally located on Thursday and Friday. But of course, we're going to be showing up every single day. Potentially, I'm going to be taking Monday off. It's bank holiday in Japan. There are no news at all. And I always wait for Monday to develop a little bit, to show me where the market wants to go, to adapt my analysis. And then, of course, the best days are from Tuesday going forward. So let's have a look at the charts. There are so many prop firms out there, but the one I prefer is FundedNext. First off, they have multiple plans, but my favorite is the Stellar plan because you actually get paid to pass your challenge, which is a huge incentive to treat it professionally. They offer a 95% profit split and payouts hit your bank account in under 24 hours, or else you get paid $1,000. FundedNext offers competitive profit targets and crazy affordable pricing. Like for just $32, you can control $5,000 account on their Stellar Lite plan. It's crazy value and they accept all payment methods, credit card, PayPal, even crypto. FundedNext is well established in the UAE with a strong reputation, rated 4.6 on Trustpilot with over 27k reviews. I trade with them, my community trades with them, and we love them. Now it's your turn. Use the link in the description plus code FANATICFN for 120% refund when you pass your challenge. All right, as always, I'm gonna get started with a DXY. Now, just before I get started, make sure to check out my Wednesday flow with the markets outlook. I'm gonna be giving my best to be publishing more of these because as we do this outlook during the weekend, pretty much a lot could happen on Monday. We can open with gaps. We can literally destroy all the outlook that we did over the weekend. So make sure to also show up on Wednesday where the market has already been halfway through the week. And then of course, we're going to have a look at it again, which is when potentially the bias is going to be a lot more cleaner and the probability of the setups that I show will have a lot higher probability to play out. So currently on the DXY, we can see so far a bearish monthly candle. And of course, I am still looking for that monthly bullish imbalance. We've been drawing this one for quite a while. And of course, the closer the market gets to it, the more I, of course, think we could potentially get there. It's just 120 pips away from it. Dropping onto the weekly time frame, then of course, we don't have really anything here to the left anymore to potentially push the market higher. The only thing we had here in the past was this weekly bullish. The market tapped in, reacted, but then literally broke that reaction, indicating that sellers are in control. But if you have a look at the current weekly candle, like nothing much happened. It was a pretty choppy week this week, I would say. A very small weekly candle, not really driving anywhere. In fact, actually sweeping the previous weekly low. I don't like the weekly, right? It's not giving me a lot of bearish indications. So let's also transfer onto the daily time frame to see what's going on. And pretty much the highlight setup of this week was the DXY short from this daily bearish imbalance here. We also, of course, had one below. But this is what I'm telling you, right? You have to flow with the markets. Monday formed it, Tuesday pulled back into it, but then Wednesday took us very nicely into that one, and then literally Thursday just dropped. Like Thursday was literally the day to be trading, and then Friday did almost nothing, closed as an inside bar. However, we're also having right now another daily bearish imbalance, very nicely overlapping with this, what you would call supply zone, order block, whatever it is. It's a very nice level for potential shorts. And literally what I'm going to be looking for right now, if of course this was a normal day of trading, let's say this is how Monday closed, and then I'm looking to trade into Tuesday, that is absolutely what I'm going to be looking for. Pull back into that supply zone, pull back into the daily imbalance, and continuation lower, with of course the first low hanging fruit being this low, and then of course going lower. The only thing we have here is, like, I usually don't draw out zones like this. I only draw them as reaction areas where I believe the market could maybe give us a little bit of a reaction. So it could tap inside this one and then give us a little pullback and then potentially continue to go lower. So that's the DXY. And then if I check out the hourly time frame, yeah, with all of that choppy Friday price action, we don't really have anything. So there is nothing bullish. In fact, that very nice short here was pretty nice. So right now we are potentially, you can see last week as well, how last week developed. We had a massive short here on Thursday again. And then Friday still continued a little bit lower. And then we spent the whole, yeah, I'm even willing to say the whole week, from Monday all the way into Wednesday to only Thursday just dump, right? So I would expect like potentially something similar this week to pull us back into this daily, tapping into the order block, and then from there I'm going to be looking for shorts. So that's the DXY. I am having a short bias right now, potentially looking for lower prices. Of course, again guys, I always say this. If the market invalidates that daily and it starts printing bullish structure, guess what? I'm going to be the first one to have shifted my bias. So again, just because it looks like this right now during the weekend, that does not mean the buyers might not suddenly step in, because Trump said something over the weekend. And of course, always be fluid with the markets. But currently, short bias on the DXY. Let's see how the other pairs are supporting that. All right, Euro USD pretty much the opposite to the DXY. Here we're having a monthly bearish imbalance that the market could potentially want to gravitate towards. Dropping onto the weekly, very choppy week. So very choppy week on the Euro. Euro was kind of the choppiest instrument. We had GU being a lot better. Even AU was better. And pretty much, again, I've been forecasting this high right now since pretty much last week printed. But this week didn't do anything. It's an inside bar of the previous one. It's a choppy candle. Nothing bearish, nothing bullish as well. Super mixed. And then this is where it gets super shitty right now. The DXY, if you remember, it has a beautiful daily bearish imbalance to continue lower. EU does not. EU literally on Friday invalidated a new daily bullish imbalance. So what does that mean right now is that potentially, usually how I would tackle this is I would look to trade into this liquidity. And then after that liquidity is taken, then I would look for the market to continue higher. So that will be kind of my daily setup. And of course, this could potentially happen if the DXY pulls back into the daily a little bit deeper. EU could potentially take out the low, and then they could go together. So nothing on the daily. I was even looking for long. I actually took a stop loss on EU on Friday. I really love the Thursday candle. I truly thought the market could potentially expand for one more day towards these liquidity targets. And I took a long trade during a London session, but no, it flipped. So getting us to the hourly time frame, like literally again, this beautiful hourly imbalance. I was into the long trade from here, but it actually, you can see, no, I was in the long trade on this candle here, right? Looking good. But then the market smoked me, and you can see immediately who got in control on Friday. It was the short sellers, right? Hourly bearish imbalance, tapping in, following through, bearish overall for Friday. And this is how we end up the week, which is a very shitty end of the week. I literally have nothing on EU. There is no bearish zone to trade from. There is no bullish zone to trade from. There is no daily imbalances. The market is just stuck right now between all that liquidity. So we have these two highs here on the top. Right now, this low starts to become really skeptical to me, because if the market failed to potentially push from these zones, this usually can become liquidity. So on Euro USD, I don't like it. So I'm just going to say I don't like it. There are no zones to trade from. It really didn't take the liquidity, while GU, AU, Gold, USD, JPY, they all took the liquidity. So that pretty much means right now, Euro USD is the weakest currency, not Euro USD, but the Euro is the weakest currency across the board. So if you're looking to actually go long on EU, not a good idea. So I would, for example, right now put Euro USD on the side. Let's have a look how the other pairs are looking like and if they're looking better. Let's check out GU. Again, here we have that similar monthly imbalance. Are we gonna reach into it? It's a little bit far away, so let's not get our hopes up. Dropping here to the weekly time frame, the first thing that I like is that actually GU managed to make a very small, but it still is there, a very small weekly bullish imbalance. Now again, that suggests this is also coming from a previous weekly bullish imbalance. And this is literally what I call order flow, right? A lot of times I've been telling you what signifies a true trend change, right? It's not just the market like making a high and then you say, oh, we're bullish. No, it's about, no, this is not correct. If you're looking for a reversal, let's say the market makes a lower low and then you suddenly see, whoa, very nice bullish push, trend change. The market is reversing, but the trend is really confirmed as the market pulls back and then it actually breaks a new high, right? So for example, here you can see the market made a low and then it pushed up and you can say, oh, that's the bottom. Well, don't rush to call the bottom. Wait for the market to pull back, higher low here, the weekly imbalance holding, and right now we're breaking for a new high, which right now does give me confidence, of course, that GU could be turning bullish. So looking at that weekly imbalance, I will definitely love for the market to be pulling back into that weekly imbalance and then going higher from there. So this is definitely something that I'm going to be looking for into the next week, because then if we drop to the daily time frame and we ask a very simple question, is there something that the market can push from on the daily? No daily imbalance was formed here as well, similar to EU. There are no zones, and if I don't have imbalances, I'm also not drawing the order block. So this is how I do it. You can of course drop this zone and try to long. I'm not, because I'm always listening for the imbalances. So to me right here, this low looks pretty juicy for the beginning of the week pullback into the weekly imbalance, and then are we gonna shift bullish from there? That's of course out of my control. We have to wait and see. Dropping onto the forward time frame as well. This one extremely choppy, right? It was taking out the highs here 3 times, pulled back into a daily imbalance here. That was a nice long as well. That was a very nice long, right? So there it is, tapping into the daily imbalance, then literally shifting. A lot of my community members took break evens on that trade here. I didn't take it from here. It was looking super shitty, so I didn't take the long. But some of my members got a stop loss, then they re-entered and then got break-evens here until the market finally, at the end of the day, decided to expand. Very tough week overall. So dropping onto the forward time frame here, we also had, similar to EU, this forward bullish imbalance, but it doesn't seem like it wants to hold. We have candle 1, 2, 3, 4. When you start seeing more than 3 candles inside an imbalance, usually not a very good sign, all right? So of course, this one looks quite a lot more bullish than EU, right? EU actually has a forward bearish imbalance looking like it wants to flush. This one is still kind of oscillating between that forward. I really don't even have scenarios for this one. It could potentially, like if the strength really comes in and if I start seeing a forward bullish imbalance to start guiding me higher, I will definitely be looking to long. However, if we start getting some bearish order flow, forward bearish imbalances, the market really showing us that it wants to go lower, then I will also have a very clear target in the form of that weekly bullish imbalance. So let's see, of course, again, let's wait for Monday to play out. Let's see where Tuesday starts to take us. All you need, guys, is 1 or 2 good opportunities per week that are clear. The market is showing you where it actually wants to go for this week. You have a clear draw on liquidity. So for example, we didn't trade this week all the way until Thursday, because Thursday here actually pulled us back into the daily. It showed us that it wants to go up, and this is literally where we focused. But unfortunately, the setup really sucked. So I think I got only 1 member who took a bigger swing trade who managed to capitalize on that trade. So that's GU. It's not better than EU. That's what I'm going to say. So I'm definitely going to be skipping Monday, waiting for more price action to set up, and then we're going to have a look at it again. Aussie dollar right now is in a very tricky spot because it's pulling back into a monthly bearish imbalance, right? So there is a rule about the imbalances that depending on the time frame, that is how long the market could spend inside that imbalance. So for example, if you're having a 1-minute imbalance, the market is very likely going to spend a few minutes. But if you have a monthly imbalance, the market could stay there for 2-3 months before it does something. So let's, for example, take that one. 1, 2, 3, until the 4th actually starts popping, and then we actually come to sweep the low, right? So don't just expect that the market is going to tap into this one and immediately reverse. Because if I start going to the weekly time frame right now, who is currently in control? Well, it's actually the buyers. Like for 2 weeks here, we really nicely popped into the highs, and we actually formed a weekly bullish imbalance that I will also be looking to potentially long from, because I'm a day trader, and we actually had a discussion about this in one of my weekly webinars that I host in my private program. Like, do we really need the monthly? Do we really also need the weekly? Well, then I pretty much said that depends on what kind of trader you are. If you are a day trader, then you better focus like on timeframes like daily, 4 hourly, 1 hourly, right? Because again, this monthly bearish imbalance, is the market just gonna tap and full reverse? Sometimes it does, but what really matters to me is who is currently in control, because I'm trading literally on the 5-minute time frame. So I need to know who is currently in control, and currently it's the buyers. Weekly bullish imbalance has formed here. Again, similar to the rest of the pairs, Friday was a very nice sell-off. It also had a sell-off on the indices after a whole week of a chop. We took liquidity on the upside. We didn't form a new daily bullish imbalance. Right now, a very clear target is going to be this daily swing low, tapping us into the weekly. So I can already say that for Aussie dollar, I would definitely be looking. Look at that even. This is something that I would love to see, for example, on GU. 4-hourly bearish imbalance is starting to form, guiding us into that weekly imbalance. Now here we have the very last reaction area. That, for example, this is an imbalance that hasn't been retested, and they usually tend to react when the market comes to retest them. So something like this would be really nice on Aussie dollar. Weekly imbalance to serve as target, nothing on the daily to stop us. The 4-hourly time frame starting to shift bearish, although it's still unconfirmed, right? We just pushed, we made a low. So the market has to pull back. It has to start confirming that it actually wants to go down. And then hopefully within kind of this sort of region, we can capitalize on some sort of a short trading against the trend, which is something that I also don't like. But again, looking through right now, EU, GU, and even AU, we're getting that Friday kind of bearish vibe, driving us into that weekly imbalance that we have on GU and AU, for example. So I am starting to incline a little bit more bearish right now on the majors, which means bullish on on the DXY, maybe towards that daily. Do we have a weekly here? Did I miss something? No, we don't have a weekly. So yeah, quite an interesting market right now. So that is Aussie dollar. I'm looking for shorts, short-term shorts, and then potentially if we reach a good level here for buys into that weekly imbalance, then I'm going to be looking for the longs. So let's see. NZUSD, pretty similar. Again, we're having that week monthly bearish imbalance. But again, as I mentioned on AU, that doesn't mean it's just immediately going to start flushing. Now, here is the thing. AU has a weekly bullish imbalance, suggesting that right now on the short term is more bullish. NZUSD does not. So that immediately tells you that it's a little bit of a red flag here. However, NZUSD was really nice here. We had a very nice daily bullish imbalance, getting us into that monthly. It followed through, and it actually here we have an extremely small daily bullish. So quite a big mixture between like AU and NZUSD, for example. Here again, like we don't have a weekly like we have on Aussie dollar to potentially target. Actually, the daily has a very small daily bullish imbalance that could potentially hold and push us higher, but then on the 4-hourly time frame, once again, we're getting inside that daily with a lot of bearish pressure. So do you see what is happening here, right? Monthly bearish, daily bullish, weekly this, 4-hourly this, all the time frames are mixed up right now. This usually happens when we are in a very big transition area, when the macro trend is about to change and you're having all of these zones and imbalances and the market is like manipulating and preparing for something. That's what you get. This is why it's always important to once again just let the market develop, let it show you what it wants to do, and then we're gonna strike when everything is clean. I personally don't love NZUSD because I'm kind of bearish from the monthly, but I'm looking at the daily that it's quite bullish as well. But at the same time, I'm seeing the 4-hourly time frame is starting to give us recent signs of bearishness. So what is going to happen? Are we gonna tap into the daily, 4-hourly, react, break, and then build, for example, something bullish here? That will be a potential scenario. Or are we just, for example, going to break lower, form new 4-hourly bearish imbalances, and then start heading lower together, for example, with that overall bias that we have on the other pairs, right? So let's see. These are kind of the scenarios that I can draw, but honestly, I don't have a clear bias on this one. And I'm not ashamed to admit it because I don't care. I'm going to wait until Thursday. I'm going to wait until Friday until the bias gets clear. And then I'm going to take my one good trade that I'm pretty certain of. All right. So that is NZUSD, very mixed up. I'm making a lot of scenarios that, of course, anything could happen. So let's give it some time. Monday, Tuesday, let it pass. Let's see where the market guides us, and then we're going to strike. Well, gold continues to rocket, going higher. We're very close to the 3K level, very key psychological level. Monthly time frame absolutely popping, weekly time frame also popping, and even though we had that beautiful weekly bullish imbalance that actually said in the weekly outlook we could be pulling back into it, but if you watch my my flow with the markets on Wednesday, you're gonna see why we didn't really pull back into that weekly. So go check it out. Now, we popped very nicely higher and we started taking all-time highs. We took them once here, we took them twice, even on Thursday. And right now we're starting to chop a little bit here on the top. You can see the last 3 days were not amazing, although we had some quite good trades on gold. Currently, we're tapping into the daily bullish imbalance on Friday and we got a very nice rejection. So can we just pop again for a new all-time high? It's getting a little bit high right now. I don't like it. I usually really like to have a little bit of a deeper pullback, although if you study gold, like within this last bullish push, the most that it gives you is like 1 or 2 days of a pullback, right? 2 days pullback goes, 1 day pullback goes, 2 days goes, right? Here 3 days goes, right? So don't expect way too much currently, okay? But there is going to be time at which we are going to start pulling back towards that weekly imbalance, because again, it's been how many weeks of bullishness? Something could happen that is going to shake the market lower. It usually does this because it needs to rebalance eventually. Daily time frame tapping into a bullish imbalance once again, but can we look for longs? I don't like this price action here. Then of course we drop to the 40 time frame and I am not loving it. So since we kind of took all-time highs, took them in the Garen, chopped up, tapped into the daily, it didn't really show us a lot of bullishness here with flower imbalances. It's quite messed up, and like in this case I can go to refine on the 1 hourly time frame, but if I see price action like this, I immediately get dizzy, and if I get dizzy, if it's not clear, I usually don't continue with the pair. So unfortunately on gold, I can say one thing: I'm definitely bullish on gold, but this price action here on the 40 time frame, it just does not give me the setups. I don't have a zone to work with right now. Even if I go to the 1 hourly time frame and I want to long, I want to keep longing from that daily, I also don't have a zone. In fact, the last thing that happened is the market printed a 1 hourly bearish and it's reacting from it. So I could go long if the market expands higher, right, breaks above that high and forms a 1 hourly bullish imbalance to trade from. Then I could look for longs. But of course, if that doesn't happen, I'm just going to be staying on the sidelines and potentially even waiting for something like this. Right, a very nice pullback into, this weekly imbalance looks very far. Looking at it right now, I wouldn't really forecast something like that, right? But at least a slight bit of a pullback to then start heading into all-time highs again. But of course, as I said, if the first thing we do is we start popping higher towards new all-time highs, then of course, you better be quick to capitalize on these longs. But unfortunately, nothing on the 4-hourly time frame for me. Daily is bullish though, which is a very good sign. So the only kind of thing that you can do if you're looking to trade on Monday and Tuesday is to wait for 1 hour imbalances to start popping higher and to really start showing you that it actually wants to go higher towards all-time highs. And then of course, if that doesn't happen, the market could come to start sweeping the liquidity that is, for example, resting inside that daily imbalance. And then from there, once again, we have to wait to see, are buyers going to start prevailing or is it going to continue to flush lower? For this, I'm going to update you on Wednesday once again. So that's gold. Not my favorite end of the week. So once again, I'm going to be giving it some time. All right, let's check out USD JPY. We are very nicely headed towards that monthly swing low. Dropping onto the weekly time frame, again, we talked about shorts last week and very nice shorts here. You can see the weekly candle looks pretty good, heading straight towards that liquidity. Now, it again was quite slow at first. We had that very massive pullback and I was like, come on, like we're bullish, then suddenly we're bearish. But again, as I keep saying, right, just follow who is currently in control and I use imbalances for that, right? There was the bullishness, but then what's the last thing that formed? It was actually bearish. So the daily bearish imbalances are showing us that we want to go lower. That was the target. Unfortunately, that daily imbalance did not get tapped. I would absolutely have loved to trade from it, but it didn't tap. And yeah, then on Thursday, we just dumped. And then actually Friday continued to dump. And we also formed a new daily bearish imbalance. Now, we're getting very close towards that target. So I think even the first thing we can do is to just take it out. It's Japanese bank holiday on Monday, so I wouldn't expect as much, but I've seen it so many times that bank holidays moves the most, right? Because probably volume is very thin, so price goes crazy and moves very nicely. So currently, this is a good bearish market, by the way, right? You can see daily bearish imbalances are forming, the quality is bearish, the weekly is bearish, we're having a clear target. I really like it. And if it wasn't a bank holiday, I would definitely be interested for something like this. And in fact, I do believe it could even move on a bank holiday. I've seen it so many times. So I'm super bearish on USD JPY, which doesn't make a lot of sense for the bullish DXY. But as I've been saying, the correlation currently just doesn't make sense. The Japanese yen operates on its own right now. There was actually a beautiful comment in one of the weekly outlooks that explained what exactly is happening and why the JPY is so strong. So we're having, of course, USD JPY flushing the recent times. But overall, just focusing on the technicals, hourly zone, daily zone. And of course, the scenarios will be the following. If that hourly zone fails and it starts printing bullishness, it could then guide us into the daily. And then from the daily, we can flush. But if the hourly time frame holds, it could potentially drive us to the liquidity. So let's see how it works. In both cases, I'm short bias on the long term, but I'm also allowing myself to be trading, for example, trades like this. If the hourly time frame fails and starts printing bullishness, then I could potentially know where the market is going. So I'm going to trade into it, right? The beauty of my approach is that I don't want to say it, but you usually know where the market could be going as you're trading live. Right now in the weekly outlook, sure, that's what it does. But what's really important is that you show up in the morning, look at the market, and then usually you're going to know where it's going to go. So then all you need is to have a tap of your zone and apply the entry model. So currently that's that. But of course we have to wait to flow and see if the zone is going to get respected. Euro JPY also starting to get a little bit of weakness. We're taking here an important liquidity point, and then we're headed towards that very massive monthly low. Dropping onto the weekly time frame, here we had some crazy gaps, a little bit of crazy price action. A super bullish week last week, and then this week just flipped bearish. It's an inside bar, so next week we can expect a breakout, for example, to the downside. Dropping onto the daily time frame. Damn, Friday was nice. Look at that. Daily bearish imbalance being tapped here on this very nice bearish market, and we already formed here a daily one, showing us that we're potentially reversing. But this tap was beautiful. This is exactly what you would like to see from an imbalance being tapped. We had here a little bit of a supply and demand sandwich. The market tapped and reacted. Beautiful trade. Damn, I have to ask my community if somebody didn't take that one, because I didn't see it Friday. I'm not trading Euro JPY, so I can't really see it. But currently, similar to USD JPY, we're having that beautiful quality bearish imbalance as well. On the daily, we don't have much, but the daily is already working. The daily is already coming from that zone, so it's going to be traveling here towards the liquidity. So I really do think this could be a nice setup, right? Pullback and then just flush into the low. That is one of these very quick setups that are very nice. Like, we're literally getting super close to that very major liquidity point. And a lot of the times it just doesn't make sense for the market not to take it. It's gotten so close. Usually a big percentage of the times it's gonna go take out the low. So let's see. Quality bearish imbalance, we can be looking for a little pullback into that one, and then of course see for an entry model if we can continue short. Looks pretty good. So let's see. I'm short bias on this one, of course. If the market just doesn't suddenly start reversing to go higher with bullish imbalances, I'm definitely looking for shorts. GJ, let's have a look. Now GJ is not going to be the better one for shorts, simply because the GBP is stronger as a currency. Weekly time frame, quite a mess here. Once again, inside bar, we can be looking for low hanging fruit in the form of that weekly low, and then dropping onto the daily time frame. Pretty similar development to Aussie dollar, to Euro Yen, right? Daily bearish imbalance, beautifully tapped. We also have this very nice supply zone here, order block, whatever you like to call it, right? POI tapped in, very nice response. And then of course dropping onto the quality time frame, all the JPYs are right now looking the same, with that very nice quality imbalance, also having a daily one. So let's see. I would much prefer EJ, because EJ is a lot weaker. It's already very close to the liquidity, while this one you can see it's quite far away and it's just tapping into some of these regions. Oh no, that already got tapped. Yeah, you can see why I always look at these reaction areas, I call them, right? The unretested imbalances, because they tend to give reactions like this, pull us back into the actual context that we have, and then the market continues going lower. So yeah, what I can say on GJ is very simple as well. Pull back into that quality zone and then driving us towards the liquidity. Looks pretty good. In fact, it looks too good. So let's see if it's gonna play out. All right, welcome to the futures part of the outlook. Extremely choppy week. Friday surprising us with a sell-off. Monthly time frame, nothing much is happening right now. Weekly time frame as well. Like you can see, like last week we had this pretty nice bullish candle, kind of starting to convince us that it might want to go towards all-time highs. But all it did actually is took out this kind of intermediate swing low. Swing high, sorry, and then it just flipped. So for next week, are we going to continue dropping? Are we going to, for example, attack liquidity levels like this? I don't know. Indices, I have been honestly on a very big, I would even call it a losing streak. It's more like a break-even streak, but I would even say it's a losing one because the daily time frame, like this period for me, like the end of January and pretty much the whole February, it is tough. Right, it is tough. I was performing so well here, November, December, very profitable, but right now I'm getting some hard time with futures. And you can see even this week, right? Monday, where's Monday? Oh, Monday was a bank holiday, right? Tuesday chop, Wednesday chop, Thursday I actually tried to short it and the market ended up pulling back on me. And then Friday sold off. And guess what? I didn't trade on Friday, god damn it. All right. Extreme bearishness. I am waiting for one day. So I'm going to be looking for Monday to print a daily bearish imbalance. Because if I get this, when's the last time we had an imbalance? It was here. Tapped in, follow through. All right. But if we do have a daily bearish imbalance, could that start guiding us towards all of these lows? It definitely could, right? Definitely could. And then if we also drop to the volatile time frame, the market ended up with this very massive volatile bearish imbalance as well. Now, is this just a short-term dip for the market to continue higher? Because we've been having these, right? Look at that dip here. You say, oh, it's going to go short. And now starts pulling back. Oh, we're going short. Nope, right? It tends to do these dips to the downside. But of course, sometimes it sustains them. We really have to wait and see, honestly. We really have to wait and see. Now, of course, I'm going to be looking for Monday to form to see if I can get a daily bearish imbalance. And then potentially Tuesday and Wednesday to trade into it and then maybe get a short if of course by that time we don't start reversing going higher. But if you've been having a tough time with indices, you're not alone, and I hope some of you are trading futures or indices. Do let me know if you're having a tough time, and hopefully I'm not alone, right? But this is ES. All-time highs still remained intact. We just took out that high here, rejected it on Wednesday, and this is why I looked to short on Thursday, but I got in a little bit too low, right? I think I was entering towards the bottom of this candle. Then I took a stop loss here on Wednesday, but then I still capitalized on the move, bringing back the loss. So break even here, losing here, and I had a break even here and then a losing here. It's damn, right? So that is ES. I'm not gonna rant about my performance. I'm looking for shorts. I'm of course gonna be looking for some sort of pullback first, and I'm gonna be potentially skipping Monday because there are no news, and I would like to see that daily bearish imbalance form, pull back into it Tuesday, Wednesday, and then hopefully we can get some shorts to collect some liquidity levels here to potentially fuel a new move into the highs. So that's ES. Let's see how the others are looking like. Nasdaq, you can see on the monthly time frame, like we're still stuck between like this liquidity here. We're also having this low, no imbalances. 2 months right now look like they're just chopping up, and then it transferred onto the weekly time frame. It is also one big consolidation right now. This is why like January and February especially have gotten quite choppy. We had a pretty nice trend here in December. December was quite nice for me. But then January, the beginning was nice. But then since here the end of January, since pretty much, yeah, since February here, it's really messed up. Like you can see all the gaps, all the uncertainty, all the gaps up and down, the lack of imbalances, the lack of commitment. It is not nice. So here we had, for example, on Nasdaq, this daily imbalance. The market tried to respond from it, but then Friday just flips. And where are we going right now? That's my first target. That is the target of that bullish push here that was supposed to push the market higher. But as I see that the imbalance is actually failing, then I can already forecast that what I call an order flow range is actually weak. And then of course below that we have a couple of lows to potentially also get collected, but those are too far away. So very similar to the S&P, I'm going to be looking for that daily bearish imbalance to form and then look to trade short from it. Because right now, if I go to the 40 time frame, well, we had, look at that sell-off. I think the market erased billions from the market on that Friday. 40 bearish imbalance here. Like, look at that, man. I traded through all of this shit. And then Friday just suddenly decides, probably everybody blew their accounts here. And then Friday was just like, all right, it's time for us to make some money. And, and then they just dumped the market. But something like this could definitely be nice. Pull back into the 40 and then a flush. But I would be mainly waiting for the daily bearish to form and then potentially look for a pullback into it and shorts. And if, of course, the market opens and starts bringing bullish order flow, as I keep saying, I'm going to be the first one to be looking for the longs. Because let's have a look here, for example. The market closed very bearish, but the very first thing that we do as the market opens is we started printing bullish imbalances. So guess what? I'm no longer looking for shorts. I'm right now looking for longs. And then overall, you can see the week actually ended up going long. Okay? So wait for Monday to open. Let's see if we have any gaps. Let's see who's going to take control on Monday and Tuesday. And then, of course, we're going to strike with more confidence. But for now, I have nothing to say apart from let's try to follow that Friday bearish momentum and tackle some of these liquidity lows. Having a look at YM, the US 30, also the monthly candle starting to look a little bit bearish, but not telling us much. Dropping onto the weekly as well, 3 weeks of a chop. And right now we're starting to impulse lower. This one is tapping into this weekly imbalance right now that we can call potentially a reaction area. So we can expect a little bit of a rebound from there. On the daily time frame, we actually here have a daily bearish imbalance on US 30. Like US 30 has been the index that really messed up my long trades this week on the other ones. Because when I take a long on the ES or NQ and then US 30 starts to drop and then it really drives the other two indices with it. So pretty tough. And you can see here we've just been making lower highs, the market failing to break lower and even lower lows here. It was stuck in a little bit of a wedge, but we're finally breaking out. Let's see, are we gonna actually get some real shorts, or is it just a dip for the market to continue higher? We're gonna have a look at that this week. Now, similarly here to the rest of the indices, I'm gonna be looking for Monday to close to form a new daily bearish imbalance, and then I'm gonna be looking to trade from that. But of course, in the meantime, you can see we're having this hourly bearish. So if you're looking to trade on the Monday from that one, you could definitely do. But I'm going to be careful on US 30 because it's tapping into a weekly reaction area. That can give the market a little bit of a rebound. So I would kind of say that Monday could be a bullish day to take the reaction from that weekly to make a daily bearish imbalance. And then from there, looking to potentially short. That was a nice short here on Friday. Also, you can see a very big chop, and then suddenly the market drives lower. It makes the imbalances, and then potentially have a very clear bias on Friday, and then the market just dumped from this fall imbalance here. Let's see if we can follow that Friday momentum. I do hope so. It's time we maybe dip a little bit, start taking some of these liquidity lows. Of course, I'm not calling a crash or a reversal. I'm just flowing with the markets and whatever they show me right now. Currently, sellers are in control, so let's see if we can get some shorts next week. And finally, DAX, it has been performing really nicely 6 days until the monthly candle closure, where we're going to have a monthly bullish imbalance. That's quite interesting. And currently what we formed is the first bearish week, finally, after quite a few to the upside. This is something that I would even expect to happen with gold, because gold has been quite similar to DAX. DAX finally did make a little bit of a pullback and a weekly bullish. This should be blue, right? A weekly bullish imbalance. And I would definitely be curious to see if we can get some longs from that. Coming to the daily time frame, again, we're having that very sharp reversal here. Oops. Very nice reversal on the daily, but I'm not really going to be looking for a daily pullback here to take a short. No, that's just eventually going to turn into a reaction area. If the market starts pushing higher, the market's going to tap, react, and then potentially go higher, but I'm just going to keep it there. This one is currently, yes, we dropped to the 40 time frame and we see this little 40 zone. I mean, this one is definitely going to need some time, because we're going to tap into that weekly right now. And then again, as I told you, depending on the time frame of the imbalance, it can take that long to potentially reverse. So it can take a whole week that the market does something here until it actually starts shifting. So just because we're going to tap into that zone, don't just say, all right, it's time to go long. No, you also need to know at what time frames to look at for a reversal based on the imbalanced time frames, right? Just a little bit of a tip here. Like, don't tap into a weekly imbalance and go to the 1 minute time frame to look for your entry. No, 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 no. All right. So I would say that weekly imbalance being printed, that is a very easy low hanging fruit. So if you can get like a quick short into it, that's great. It could potentially continue a little bit lower as well. But then as soon as we start seeing the shifts higher from that weekly zone, we can start looking for longs. DAX made quite a nice dip here, almost 4% dip. That's pretty nice. Right now, of course, since that very recent top, you can see also ES like 2-3% drop is going to be very nice. So let's see, is it the dip for us to right now continue going higher, or is it a little bit of a reversal? Of course, with indices, they are designed to go up. So every dip is a buying opportunity. I'm buying some stocks, of course, as we speak, but let's see. That is DAX, weekly imbalance, the very key POI looking for next week. Let's see how it works out. All right, let's throw a quick recap. So on the DXY, as I looked solely on the DXY, it looked more bearish to me. We have a very nice daily bearish imbalance to pull back into and then give us a short. But then, of course, looking at EU, it has nothing on the daily, and the 40 time frame is starting to look a little bit bearish. And overall on the majors right now, coming into Monday, for example, I am not having a clear bias. Like, EU doesn't really have anything. The last thing we had was a quality being respected here. GU, nothing really. Like, we have a weekly bullish imbalance below. I would definitely look to see the quality time frame start picking up and guiding me towards where he wants to go. Aussie dollar also, like, it has a weekly bullish zone. So I'm kind of looking for shorts on the majors, especially on the short term, driving us into that weekly bullish imbalance, and then maybe longs from there. So GU and AU, they have that weekly imbalance. The quality time frame is starting to look, GU not that bearish, but AU is already looking bearish. So let's see if we can catch some short-term shorts. NZUSD, it's actually having a daily bullish here, so I wouldn't really look to short that one. Gold is extremely chopped up here, especially on the quality time frame. It's tapping into a daily bullish imbalance, but the quality time frame is quite messed up. So I really need to look at the 1 hourly time frame in this case to see where it's gonna guide me. So Monday is definitely a skip for me on gold. By the way, the JPYs are looking pretty nicely bearish. Very nice daily bias here. Nice daily bearish imbalances. Euro yen and GJ are looking pretty good with quality bearish imbalances driving us towards the liquidity. So kind of a highlight is going to be the JPYs. JPYs are looking pretty good for shorts, honestly. And then the indices gave us a very nice sell-off on a Friday. Now, of course, is this just going to be short-lived and then we just tap into liquidity point and start reversing? Or is it going to commit a little bit to the downside to dip us a little bit deeper into some liquidity points? That is what we have to see. But my action plan for the indices is to wait for Monday to close, to wait for a daily bearish imbalance to form on ES, NQ, and YM, and then look to see if I can continue lower from that daily bearish imbalance that holds. And then, of course, DAX is tapping into a weekly imbalance, so we really have to wait and see, is it going to get respected or not? But overall, like, bearish bias has been introduced in the indices. Is it going to commit? That is the very big question. But apart from that, I'm going to be giving 1 or 2 days on the major pairs to develop a little bit. The JPYs can immediately be traded, although Monday is a bank holiday. The market is not looking amazing currently, but of course, as you wait, Monday, Tuesday, as it starts getting cleaner, you're always going to get that clear bias. That is going to give you that 1 good trade per week that you're looking for. So that's from me. Let me know how you performed this week in the comments. Let me know what is your favorite setup into the incoming week, and I'm going to talk to you hopefully on Wednesday.